Well, that was painful. Welcome to the United Devils YouTube channel, everyone. My name is Arion, and I'm going to try to make some sense of what we have just watched in that Manchester derby in the Carabao Cup Semi-Final. It was disappointing. I'm not sure what majority of the people's expectations were going into this game, but I thought we would go into this game at Old Trafford, especially on the back of the win at the Etihad, more up for it, even though the opening 30 minutes were okay. But I just felt like at times the energy was very, very low. Although City obviously are second to none at the possession game, I thought that we showed at times that we were able to disrupt them with the high pressing, and a bit of aggression. And I think at times the team just really didn't show any urgency or intent to try and win the ball back. And even in the closing moments of the game, when it went into added time and you would have thought that United would start throwing the kitchen sink at them, City were just able to hold on to the possession and run time off the clock even more when United were in desperation mode. So I thought they just outclassed us. It was a lesson in football, really. United had no answers for anything that City proposed in the first half, defensively and offensively, and then some individual calamities with Phil Jones leading the line in that department just gifted City 3 goals, and the game was over at halftime. It was just about damage limitations going into the second half, and just looking at the bigger picture in terms of the second leg, which 3-1 is not a bad result to go into the second leg with, but I can't see us keeping a clean sheet over there, and you never know what the injury status of some players is going to be like in 2 weeks' time. So it feels like we're more out than we are in terms of this competition. But of course, it's football, so you can't say it's over until it's over. But looking at some of the positives, I think Brandon Williams has to be one of them. Another very solid performance at left back. He didn't really let Mahrez do too much, the guy that was mainly on him. Not a lot of the City danger came through his side, and you could say he made a mistake for their third goal, but I don't think there was all that much he could have done. I guess he could have probably slid in for that loose ball, which he just kind of ran over and tripped up, which gave Kevin De Bruyne the ball to go in one-on-one with David De Gea. But I think that the fact that he had to come over from left back after that series of mistakes was kind of it summed up the game, how United were so out of position so many times, and that's why that was the third goal that kind of put the nail in the coffin. It just wasn't good enough from the back four in general as a unit. Phil Jones and Victor Lindelof looked like they haven't played with each other. I don't think they've played with each other all season, or maybe it was in that Sheffield game, but I think that was Phil Jones and Harry Maguire. But you could tell that they haven't played together. They don't have that compatibility, the codependence. They don't have the communication. It just looked like it was two strangers playing together, which it kind of essentially was. Phil Jones showed, again, so many reasons as to why he should be the next one on the chopping block. He is just not good enough for Manchester United. It's just not the standard. I don't even think he's championship caliber at the moment. There was so many silly mistakes. He was getting turned inside out. Kevin De Bruyne made a show of him for the third goal, and it just kind of summed up his career at United. He was never really, although there was a lot of promise on him when he signed from Blackburn, and Sir Alex Ferguson was hailing him as the next big thing in English defence, but you could kind of tell from the moments that he had that he has a mistake in him, and I don't think there was ever any doubt that he's not going to reach the next level, and it's all but confirmed now. Even though he's not even 30 yet, but it just feels like his career is kind of coming to a close, especially at United. It should have been over a couple of transfer windows ago, but I think after today, it might just be over. Another player whose career at United might very well be over after this game is Jesse Lingard, who got hooked at halftime after 45 minutes, and another ghosty performance. He just wasn't there. He wasn't offering anything in the first half. It felt like he was never on the ball, and when he was a couple of times, he gave the ball away. Just for whatever reason, whatever is going on in Jesse Lingard's life, of course, it's understandable that those things play a part on how players perform, but it's just inexcusable to be performing at such a low level for Manchester United week in, week out. Like there's a limit, there's a boundary on the amount of chances that you're going to get, and I feel like Jesse Lingard he's probably crossed that line a long time ago, but now it's come to the point where Ollie just took him off for Nemanja Matic at halftime because it was honestly better at that time to have a centre defensive midfielder on the field than a Jesse Lingard, even though we were chasing the game and trying to close down the gap on the scoreline. So I think that says a lot, and it wouldn't shock me if that was the last performance that Lingard has put in for United. Although I'm not sure how likely it is that he leaves in January, and with our depth right now, if we don't make any signings this month, then maybe he's going to get some games here and there before the summer before we can really invest in that centre attacking midfield position. But it doesn't look good for him right now for United's number 14, and I think his days might be numbered in the red shirt. And it always hurts a United fan to see that, because obviously he's a homegrown player, he's United through and through, he's a Manc, but at the end of the day, it's about how good you are as a footballer, and if you're not pulling your weight at a team like Manchester United, then you just can't play for them. Simple as that. So I guess those are kind of the two players that I feel like were playing for their careers at United tonight, and they just they didn't do themselves any favors, to say the least. And overall, to sum the game up, we were never going to beat City with the same system as we played in the first game at the Etihad in the league. I think that was kind of obvious, so it was disappointing to see that was our kind of go-to game plan in this game. I guess that can go on the manager for sure, along with the team selection, which was, you could say, questionable in some areas, but also very limited due to the injury troubles that are just never leaving United's side this season. There's multiple players in each position injured at all times. Ollie hasn't had the chance to have his whole team at 100% fitness and available for selection at all really this season after like the fourth or fifth game. So it's difficult to judge when you're so depleted and so limited, because you feel like no manager would make a difference with the current crop of players available. And it's just evidence that there are signings needed, reinforcements are needed, quality is needed, and it would be almost criminal if there was no reinforcements in this transfer window, because the season is still there to be salvaged. United are not far off in the league. The second leg, of course, is still for the taking. The FA Cup is there, the Europa League is there, but there are reinforcements needed to add depth to the squad and quality to the squad, and to help those young players get out results that United are going to need critically for the rest of the season. But of course, as we've said time and time again on this channel, patience is going to be required. And for the first 30 minutes of the City game, United were playing okay. City were kind of on the back foot. United had a lot of the ball. They were winning the ball, but you just could see that the personnel is not there to play the way United want to play right now. You have to, when United want to win the ball back really quickly and advance and play that killer ball and score, there's just not the player there to advance the ball quickly and pick out that killer pass in the final third. So obviously that's an area that needs to be addressed, among others. And we're just going to have to be patient and wait and see what happens, and hope, I guess, at this time that the board will invest, that they will back Ollie, or if it's not Ollie, if the fans get their wish, the majority of the fans get their wish, that want to see change at the helm yet again, and they want to change in the structure and the change in the tactics, and if they want to go through with all of that again, then whoever the manager may be, whoever comes in here is not going to succeed with this current squad, and they're going to need backing financially in multiple transfer windows, not just January and the next summer. It's a long-term project, and it's going to need a lot of patience to get it right, because you're not going to get every single transfer window right either. It's a process of trial and error, and it looks like United are kind of perhaps not as far away as we would think, because some performances show that there are some players here that can take this club forward, but there are also players needed to come in and shore up all of the gaps that United made last summer and more, to add depth and real world-class quality to the squad before we really see some consistency and big results. But there's going to be a lot of these nights like tonight. and I think people need to prepare themselves for that in a way, because as many great nights as there will be, as we cherish those wins even more now as United fans, there will also be nights like this where we feel like, what's the point anymore? Because this is a team in a rebuild, and this is a team that wants to get back to the top with a guy at the helm that knows what it takes to play for Manchester United, but perhaps he's just either not able to do it himself, or he doesn't have the players to do it. But whoever's in charge is going to take a lot of time and money before United get back to challenging, and I think all we can do is just be patient.